Hello, YouTube! It's me, your boy B3, back with another kicking trade review. We got a great graphic novel today. Last time we did Superman Action Comics Volume 3, and now I'm going to review the next book you need to read for Superman Action Comics. Superman Reborn. You need to read this if you are reading Superman and if you're reading Superman Action Comics. I don't know why you aren't reading both, because they're both excellent. The best portrayals of Superman we've had in years. Years! Now I'm going to read you the back of this book and the inside cover. Once again, it's a crossover between Superman and Action Comics. To save his son, Superman must solve his greatest mystery. Who is Clark Kent? But who are any of us? No, there's an imposter Clark Kent. Everything is perfect for Superman. He has a loving wife, a son he loves more than anything in the world. And he's once again Earth's greatest hero. But there's still one piece of the puzzle that doesn't quite fit. Who is the man who's calling himself Clark Kent, who, as far as anyone can tell, is Clark Kent? Finally, it's time for the mystery to be solved. Whoever the fake Clark is, his identity is starting to unravel, and with it, so is Superman's reality. The life he shared with Lois is disappearing before his eyes, including the most precious thing of all, their son John. Now, to save his son, Superman must face one of his deadliest enemies, and discover a secret with grave implications for the entire DC universe. Not just who Clark Kent is, but who Superman himself truly is. Superman is Reborn, as acclaimed creators Peter J. Tomasi, Dan Jurgens, Patrick Gleason, and Doug Mahnke, who is great, by the way, present their first major Superman crossover of the DC Rebirth era. Collects Action Comics 973 through 976 and Superman 18 through 19. Now, it doesn't have to be said, the art isn't very consistent, but it's several different artists on several different titles working on this, so that's to be expected. But it's very good. It finally explains why there are two Supermen, because it seems like when darkness and light were separated in the DC universe, the darkness kind of went to New 52 Superman because he was kind of broody and, you know, not very happy and etc. And then this fancy happy Superman who had a family and whatnot gave birth to John and Flashpoint and everything from Convergence. But yeah, so Steel breaks into the mountain fortress of Solitude with Lana Lang's Superwoman, who's dying. They stabilize her. Clark Kent helps Lois out with an undercover job, and then he fucking proposes to her, which is crazy. After one date hadn't even started. It was insane. Then he followed her home like a fucking creeper, and saw her with John and Superman, who was in his Smith persona at the time, and he was like, oh, I remember everything now, I'm not Clark Kent. And then it shows someone escaping from Mr. Oz's prison, which turned out to be I don't think I'm quite there yet. Never mind, I'll hold off on that. So then, like, this fire starts burning in their house, but it's not burning things, it's making things disappear, and it makes John disappear. And then they go to the Clark Kent's apartment, and Superman fights this reality-warping being who's transforming into all his enemies, and he makes him guess who it is, and it's Mr. Mixias Spitlick, the reality-warping imp from the fifth dimension. Pretty crazy artwork. They got him looking all Grinchy. Looks like the fucking Grinch. Very creepy artwork with him in a lot of these pages. But he kidnaps John, and it turns out he used to be the subject of John's favorite bedtime stories, which is nice. So he plays these games with Superman, and he leads Superman up to the top of the Infinity Daily Planet, and then there are these two red orbs there that contain kind of the essence of New 52 Superman and New 52 Lois Lane, and they swap with the Rebirth Lois Lane and New 52 Superman, and they don't know John because they were never married or dated or anything. And they're fighting Mr. Mixias Spitlick, but then after they defeat him, he runs because he's like, oh man, the guy who created New 52 is going to be super upset. Like, Mr. Mixias Spitlick even says New 52 at one point in this. He says Deja New 52 when New 52 Superman shows up. Omnipotent beings, am I right? But, yeah, so he's like, the guy who orchestrated this is more powerful than me. Yeah, it's insane, so I'm going to get the fuck out of here. And I guess he's talking about, like, at the time we're recording this, only 2 issues of Doomsday Clock are out. So I'm still guessing it's Mr. Manhattan, unless it's, like, the biggest red herring in the history of red herrings. It's got to be Dr. Manhattan, right? But then again, Mr. Oz was a red herring too, so who knows? I mean, he, spoiler alert, turned out to be... You know what? I'll save that for another time. It's common knowledge now, but I'm just going to hold off on it. So, I have a friend who watches these reviews as his sole source for comic knowledge, and I'm not going to spoil it for him yet. But yeah, it fuses the continuities of Rebirth Superman and regular Superman so that they can have their lives as Lois Lane and Clark Kent back and not have to hide John. They can be the Kents, finally. And you can tell which Rebirth Superman stories are pre-Reborn and post-Reborn with fused continuity, because this is his second suit. You see, it's got the fully connected belt with the yellow on it. That's how you can tell. So anything with that suit is post-Superman Reborn. So that's good for you guys to know. And then Mr. Oz is like, holy shit, I can't believe he did it. I wonder if he will let him do it. They really play the pronoun game with him. But yeah, so the reading order is Action Comics 973, 974, Superman 18, Action Comics 975, Superman 19, Action Comics 976. Pretty cool. Now that that's all done, I'll read you the inner cover. Mild-mannered identity crisis. Superman's life isn't what it used to be. And he was living with that. But now the world he has built is crumbling away because of a mysterious foe. Will he be able to rescue the life he knew before it disappears forever? The enigmatic Mr. Oz told Superman, you and your family are not what you believe you are, and neither was the fallen Superman. Now the shocking truth behind those words are revealed. It begins with one of Oz's prisoners escaping and ends in a tragic moment for Lois and Superman. But this is a really good book. I'm loving Rebirth Superman in Action Comics. They're so good. Rebirth Superman is just amazing. The best thing they've ever done for Superman in the history of comics, in my opinion, is give him this family. Having a wife and son makes him more relatable on so many levels, and it also makes him more vulnerable, right? Because his family is vulnerable, and that's kind of a weakness, but also a strength, you know? It's so good. It's so good. If I could only recommend one Rebirth book, it might be Superman. I don't know. Aquaman's pretty good. Detective Comics is pretty good. But Superman is a really good book. And Superman Action Comics is just as good. So definitely read Superman Reborn. Very good book. The hardcover goes for $24.99, which isn't a bad price. It's really not a bad price. And I think that there is a paperback out now, too. So keep an eye out open for that. Keep an eye out open for that. Keep an eye out for that, or keep an eye open for that. I gotta learn fucking words. But that's it. Thank you all very much for your support. What comics would you like me to do next time? I have a lot of Green Lantern I gotta get through, because Green Lantern's my favorite, so I got a bunch of that. More Batman, more Superman, Flashpoint, Earth 2, Injustice. I read almost every Rebirth title, and that's just fucking DC. I got all kinds of Spider-Man stuff, Miss Marvel, Black Panther. What do you guys want me to read? Tell me what you want me to do, and I'll try to put it up higher on the list. So that's it. Thank you all very much for your support. Remember to rate, comment, and subscribe. Check out all the cool links in the description below, Facebook, Twitter, etc. And I'll be seeing you all later.